Hello, my name is Troy, and I want to tell you about one of the paranormal experiences that I've had in my life, the scariest one of all. I've had quite a few, but this one was by far the worst. It was the day before Thanksgiving in 2001. Now, the house I was living in, I had had a couple of other incidences, I would say. Woke up in the middle of the night once, the light above me was on. Another night, the bathroom light was on. But what I'm about to tell you makes those look like nothing. So yeah, it was the day before Thanksgiving in 2001. My wife at the time and my little girl over at her grandmother's house, and I was there by myself. It was about 9:30, and I was tired, so I thought, I'm just gonna go on to bed. So I do, and it's I don't sleep with any lights on, so it's completely dark in the house. So I lay there, for maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, and I start to get sleepy, and I fall asleep. Actually, I'm right at the brink of falling asleep. And I have my back to the door of the room. And I think everybody knows that feeling you get when somebody's watching you. Well, this was amplified about 100 times. And I open my eyes and there's light. I can't, at the time, remember, I've got my back to the door. I can't, in that brief second, I don't know where this light is coming from. I just know there's light and I'm instantly afraid, but I have to, of course, turn around and look. And so I turn around very quickly. Remember, all this is taking place in a matter of just 1 or 2 seconds, but it seemed like longer. So I turn around, and floating is a full-bodied apparition. No face, though. I couldn't see the face, but it was clearly a woman because it had blonde hair and the bright dress. The brightness of these things is brighter than anything you could possibly imagine. It was so bright, the light on the edges of the figure, it's like a fire. The way the light blends into the darkness, it's like a fire all the way around it. But I remember the color orange. I don't know why, but that particular color of the dress, it was in the dress, the color orange sticks out to me. It was just, it is, it's like high definition, like you've never seen. It's just so bright and clear. Anyway, I jump up and I got to get out of this room, but the thing's right in the doorway. But apparently I was so afraid, I just ran right through it because I just, I ran into the living room and I was standing there and I was just in this, and I don't panic easy, but that scared me really bad. I have to confess, that really frightened me. And yeah, I have a very weird sense of humor. And so I remember saying, okay, you got me on that one, because that's the way I deal with things. I just like, that's how I get myself calmed down. So I was just talking to this thing. I don't know if it heard me or if it even mattered, but that's the way I do things. But anyway, that's my story. And, I lived there another 5 years. I never saw anything else like that. Um, Never really had any other major problems or anything. But I will give you a little tidbit here. My aunt had died about 3 months before, and my grandmother had died just 1 month before that happened. And that was the house she used to live in, my grandmother. So I just think it was her trying to communicate something with me. I don't know. I don't know why I couldn't see a face, though. But I've seen other episodes on TV like that where you couldn't see the face, but I don't know what that means. But anyway, thanks for listening, and that's my story, and I hope it entertained you a little bit. But I take care. Bye bye.
Okay, this is about a church and a cemetery that is just outside town. I'm not going to give the name because I've never wanted to encourage people to go here and start messing around. I will say up front that they have done some restoration to this old church and fixed it up and painted it up and cleaned it up, and may very well have done a cleansing. There might be nothing there now, but I really don't know. But back in the early 90s, and I don't know when they stopped using the church as a church. I know it was many, many years ago, and this is a very small old country church. Just imagine, think along the terms of Little House on the Prairie or something like that. It was a little church like you might see on TV. And not exactly sure when they stopped using it, but when they stopped using it for church services, a group of people did find this church. A lot of people believe that they were devil worshippers. And I don't know if they actually were, or if they were just people messing around and painting stuff on the wall. But there was a lot of symbols and such as that that had been. It was just an awful shape. A lot of symbols that had been painted on the wall. If they knew what they were doing or not, I don't know. It very well could have been just a group of people that were messing around and stumbled on the wrong thing. And again, this was, let's say, the early 90s, the very beginning of my interest in ghost hunting. I basically I really didn't know much of anything about ghost hunting. We had no equipment, we had no voice recorders. Of course, this was long before YouTube, long before everybody had a camera in their pocket. It was just us. It was just me and a group of people, and we would just go places and see if we felt anything, see if we saw anything, see if we heard anything. And when you first walked into this church, aside from the fact that it was in such horrible shape and it looked so scary, and all the stuff that was on the wall in there and everything, there was a very strong negative feeling that I did not fully understand at the time. Now, if I felt that exact same feeling, I might very well just turn around and leave a place. But we were too stupid at the time to know that that's probably what we should do. And of course, none of us were prepared. None of us knew what we were doing. The first thing I remember, and some of this is a little sketchy to me, there are other people involved. I don't want to give any names because it's not my place to be doing that. But the first thing I really remember that was I don't even know if frightening would be the word. There was a girl there uh, who opened what was a broom closet. She opened a door. I was standing just a few feet away, another girl standing next to me, and I can't for the life of me remember what the girl next to me said. But the girl at the closet door turned and looked at her. When she turned and looked at her, we saw a hand reach out of that closet. As I remember it, it was there was some kind of clothing. I don't remember, but it was the hand itself was like, it seems like I remember it being gray, very bony, and it just reached out and brushed that girl's hair, which she felt. And she turned and looked, and of course, she would tell us later we couldn't see what she was seeing, but she would tell us later that when she turned to look, she saw a girl with her back to her. And I don't know why she did that, but we saw her reach out like she was going to reach out and touch something, and we both said no. She would tell us later she didn't even know why she was doing it. She didn't know why she was reaching out to touch this girl that was standing there with her back to her. But when she reached out, the girl moved away from her, and when she moved, it was like she was going down a set of stairs. Now, I said this was a broom closet. Uh, if you go there now, there would barely be enough room for you to stand in that closet, much less for there to be a set of stairs. Well, that's when I said, okay, that's enough for me. I don't want to be in here anymore. And I left. Some people stayed inside. And that turned out to be a very bad thing. Because this is a place I will not go. Even if it has been cleansed, even if there's nothing there, I will not go back there ever again. And the reason being, as I was standing outside, kind of near the cemetery part, and there was a handful of other people out there. I saw a friend of mine come out the back door backwards. Now, it's not like he was walking backwards. Imagine, if you will, if you just fall back into somebody's arms and they catch you with their arms under your armpits, and are dragging you backwards. That's kind of what it looked like, and he was a good 6 to 8 inches off of the ground. He was not touching the ground at all. Moving backwards out the front door, and then it was just like someone threw him to the ground. Well, I think finally everybody got the hint, and we all left. Unfortunately, the story does not just stop there with, and we never saw that place again. This friend of mine who came out the door backwards, I won't be able to tell his full story, not just because it's not my story to tell, but because I don't think he has ever told the full story. Something got a hold of him that night. And was messing with him a little here and there at first. I don't know what all experiences he had during this time, but gosh, it was weeks later. Weeks later, we were at a party, and again, he would tell us later that at one point it was like he could hear what everyone was thinking, but it was all happening at once. You know, he could hear it like this. All of these voices were hitting him, and he went outside to try and, I guess, fight it off. Well, myself and another guy went outside, and he started. Well, he started talking to us in this voice that was not his. It was like a deep, growly voice. For some reason, the guy that I was with, I don't know why, he started rattling off like biblical names and stuff like that. And uh, whatever this was that had my friend, he didn't like that much. And my friend took off on all fours, running on his feet and his hands. Now that might not, it's kind of unusual. You might not think too much about it though, except for the fact we tried to chase him down, tried to catch him, and he left us like we were standing still. He was outrunning us on all fours. So whatever this was had a hold of him. But I guess my friend was still there enough to know where he needed to go and managed to get there. He went to a pastor that he knew well. Uh, got help there. It didn't end that night even. Several nights later, and I don't know if my friend called him or if the pastor just sensed that he needed to be there. But in my friend's front yard, he ended up getting into a fight with the pastor, a wrestling match basically, and finally did exorcise this, whatever this was that had my friend got rid of him. So that was one night of curiosity and ghost hunting, if you will, that ended up having a lasting effect. A couple of months, 3-4 months later, it finally ended, and yeah, well, I have no interest in going back out there again. I'm more than happy to leave that in the past.